Good evening, my dear friends. Tonight, I want to settle into a truly tender topic, one that comes with its challenges, its emotions, but also a profound potential for connection and compassion. Let's talk about the signs our bodies, or the bodies of our loved ones, may begin to show as they near life's final chapter. Have you ever noticed how some shifts in health or behavior feel small at first? A missed meal here, a slower step there. But over time, they whisper something deeper. Something we owe it to ourselves and to those we love to hear and understand. Now let me say this. These are not mere signs of aging, nor markers of what lies ahead for every person. Instead, they are gentle reminders, clues, really, that the body is recalibrating its priorities. And when we recognize these signs, we give ourselves the chance to respond. We can offer the warmth of understanding, the relief of help, and the dignity of meeting this stage with openness rather than fear. So, where does this story begin? One of the most telling changes we often see is sudden, unexplained weight loss. At first glance, it can seem like nothing too concerning. Maybe clothes fit looser, or a loved one starts skipping meals more often. It's easy to brush it off, thinking they're just eating light, especially if appetite naturally wanes as we age. But a significant drop in weight, especially within a short time, speaks volumes. Dr. Nicholas Sanders, a geriatric physician at NYU, explains it this way. When the body starts using its own reserves, muscle and fat alike, it's often a sign that it's struggling to absorb nutrients or lacking the energy to maintain itself. Imagine a jar where the sand slowly runs out. That shift in weight might be the first grain spilling away, and it calls for gentleness and attention. Take Richard, for example, a proud, sturdy man in his 80s who had always been the backbone of his family. Over just a few months, his frame seemed to hollow out. The once snug belt needed another notch, and during casual family meals, his enthusiasm for food dimmed. Only after some urging did he visit a doctor, who uncovered an underlying condition affecting his nutrient absorption. By addressing it early, his family bought him more time to build moments of joy and connection. Another sign, often subtle but heart-rending in its implications, is fatigue. Profound, unshakable weakness that makes even the most basic activities seem monumental. Now, fatigue looks different as we age. We all grow a little slower, a little more deliberate, don't we? But when someone who used to tend their flowers or knit for hours now struggles to stand or shows a lack of energy to engage in cherished pastimes, it's worth pausing. Margaret, a passionate gardener, found herself sitting more than weeding one summer. What began as a little too much sun turned out to be a sign of her body diverting energy toward more essential processes, diminishing her reserves for the joy of her garden. Fatigue can also lead to mood changes, irritation, withdrawal, or quiet resignation. You know, I think about the generations before us, how many of our mothers and fathers carried their struggles quietly. But it's so important not to write these changes off as simply someone becoming grouchy or disengaged. Sometimes, it's their body's way of saying, "I'm tired." And as caregivers, friends, and family, we can meet that fatigue not with insistence to cheer up, but with understanding. Maybe it's a call to rest together, to sit in silence, to simply be present. Another delicate sign, pulling away socially. This isn't about forgetting a phone call or skipping one event. It's a pattern. An outgoing person might become reserved. Gatherings that they eagerly attended feel overwhelming. James, a lively storyteller at holiday gatherings, began staying home, exchanging family banter for quiet evenings alone. This transition can be heartbreaking, leaving those closest to him wondering if they'd let him down somehow. Medical experts remind us it's often not intentional. Social withdrawal can come from fatigue, unwellness, or even a sense of self-preservation. Imagine their energy as a candle. They save its light for what matters most. Similarly, there's the deeply compassionate but also practical recognition of nutritional needs fading away. Difficulties swallowing, or the loss of appetite altogether, might occur late in life. Some people take twice as long to chew an ordinary bite, or begin to simply forget meals altogether. It's the body's quiet way of stepping away from the demands of digestion, even as loved ones may struggle with whether to encourage more intake. Here, small, meaningful steps can help. A warm bowl of soup, shared stories over a soft snack, or even professional guidance from speech therapists trained to ease swallowing difficulties. Each act is a gift, yet one of the most silent yet profound shifts comes in how we navigate the spaces around us. An unsteady step, a fall that seems out of character, or a growing need to lean on objects for balance. All of these point to a body gradually changing its relationship with movement. Sometimes this is linked to challenges like slower reactions or reduced circulation. Frank was a man who'd always gotten up effortlessly from his favorite chair, until one day, that simple act required extra thought, reaching for support. These shifts remind us that accepting help, perhaps through a cane or walking aid, isn't a defeat, but a wise, dignified step in preserving confidence and safety. And finally, let us not forget the mind, that lifelong companion we often assume will stay as steady as a lighthouse in our journey. Sadly, sudden memories slipping away, confusion over time or place, and even vivid hallucinations signal that the brain itself may be under strain. Dorothy, a brilliantly sharp woman, found herself asking the same question 3 times one evening, laughing softly at first, but later seeming lost and scared. Hallucinations, like seeing a loved one already passed, can be unsettling but often represent the body grappling with internal imbalances such as dehydration, infection, or neurological shifts. Through this all, let's pause to recognize something essential. Paying attention to these signs is not about fixating on the inevitability of what lies ahead. It's about leaning into the moment, making space for tenderness, and ensuring that every day, whether it's one day or 1 year, is lived with grace, dignity, and love. So, what lessons do we take forward from these reflections?
1. Changes in weight, energy, mood, or cognition are not merely medical facts. They're life's whispers, calling for compassion. 2. Medical advice exists not just to cure, but to guide us toward comfort. And 3, and perhaps most important, when we understand what these changes mean, we can meet them not with fear, but with the profound power of presence. For those of you tuning in, I want to leave you with this thought. Whether you're observing these shifts in a loved one or introspecting on your own journey, know that moments of transition carry immense beauty. They teach us to listen, adapt, and cherish. And together we'll keep learning how to walk this path with gentleness, wisdom, and an open heart. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this has touched your heart or given you clarity, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment, share a reflection, because your voice matters here. Until next time, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other.